Okay, welcome back to the keg room. And now it's time for us to taste our local strong ales. So we have this week, we've got from the Little Brewing Company, we've got Mad Abbot Belgian style strong Abbey Ale. And we've got from the Otway Winery, we've got Prickly Moses strong ale.
The Mad Abbot is produced by a Little Brewing Company up in Port Macquarie. It was established by a husband and wife team in 1997. What's really interesting about this beer, Robert, is they say it's best consumed when it's 5 years old.
Okay.
So looking at the best before date on this particular bottle, I'm assuming it's 3 years old. So the idea is the beer completely changes character during this time. So I think Cooper's are best known for this, for their vintage ale in Australia, and of course Chimay from Belgium is well known too.
Yeah.
The Prickly Moses, they say that this beer has been triple fermented. So it's not a Belgian triple, as in extra malt, triple malt. It is triple fermented. So I think this would mean it would go through a primary fermentation, and then they would rack the beer off its lees. So they leave behind the inactive yeast and put it in a new fermentation vessel, a new tank, and it will go through a second fermentation there. And this avoids picking up any of those fermentation characters which could be unpleasant for a beer which is made over a long period of time. They then add, at some stage, they add some spices to the beer and they mature it in a wine barrel, a barrique, a 220 litre. Actually, I don't know if it's 220 litre. It's a wine barrel which has been used to mature wine. So you get some extra flavours from the slow oxidisation through the wood too. So the proof is in the tasting. So what do you think of the Mad Abbot?
The Mad Abbot, well, straight up, I mean, when you first pulled this bottle out, I thought, oh, that's a Belgian beer. And then I had to read the fine print and find that it's not a Belgian Abbey beer, but they've obviously had some go at replicating the style with a modicum of success, I think. It's certainly a very malty, meaty, strong ale. And it's not bad, but it's a bit thin on the aftertaste or something. I don't mind it. I think it's not a bad beer. I'd give that 3 stars.
I picked up as Australian because it was written in English, but I've got to, I've got to say that where this beer falls down is it's so one-dimensional. I'm expecting more complexity. I really wasn't impressed. It just didn't have it, so I just think this is a 2-star beer that's not that good an example of the style.
Yeah.
Prickly Moses?
Prickly Moses, well, I think it's a bit gimmicky and weird, actually. It's got it's quite a strange taste. It almost reminds me of a cider, some sort of aged cider or something. It's quite, I mean, it's very bitter. It's not that malty. It's in fact, it's very hard to say what it is, I think, except that it's not a very good beer. So I'm only going to give it 1 star.
Well, I think it's a 1-star too beer, Robert. I think that they've just got too many ingredients in this, and it's a bit sort of confused about where it fits in the world. But it's not a pleasant flavour profile for us.
No.
Now, I'm sure if they're making it, selling it, other people disagree, but I just don't think it tastes very nice. So I'm giving this 1 star.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, my name is Enzo. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to prepare beer bread. Very simple recipe. The ingredients are obviously flour, beer. We choose this extra special bitter full flavor beer. We have butter, dried yeast, and salt. For the egg wash, we have just a little egg, a little bit of milk, and sweet paprika. Now, to put the whole dough together, very simple. We have the flour and the yeast and the salt, and we sift the whole thing together into a bowl. That's to incorporate extra air, so our dough is nice and fluffy when we mix it. And the 50 grams of butter into it. which is going to be crammed into the flour until basically the whole thing just made a little well in the center. And I'm adding 175 mils of this beer into it. We just mix it. Now it looks good, so off it goes onto the board. It will just keep kneading until basically it forms a nice, beautiful, smooth surface. And in case it's a bit sticky, in this, just add a little bit of flour just on the board, just very lightly. In that way you can keep working and stretch the dough. Here we go. That's it. And it goes back into a bowl with a little bit of Glad wrap or just another little plate, and it stays for just 1 hour until it just proofs. Here, what I have already prepared before. So I'm going to form it and bake it. This is just ready to go. So it's going to end up to be a nice small little loaf. I'm gonna cut this in half, just almost right on the bottom, like so. And I'm going to do the egg wash with a bit of milk, the egg, and lots of paprika. Nice and stir up. And onto a tray. I already preheated my oven at 230 degrees. There you go. And a little bit of extra salt and extra paprika powder on top of it. And here it goes in the oven at 230 degrees for the next 5 minutes, and then we'll turn it down at 190 degrees for maybe 10 minutes. They'll be ready. Okay, now the bread should be ready. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, oh, it smells absolutely fantastic. Nice and hot. Look at that. Oh, okay. Normally I never cut the bread when it's nice hot. Always wait that cools down a bit, otherwise becomes keeps cooking if you don't cut it. Here there is some cheese that I prepared before. This is my brie and my cheddar. I make those cheese guys, and let's have a look at the bread. Oh, it smells absolutely gorgeous. Nice. Bon appetit.
Well, welcome back to the keg room for the last time for this series, and we've got a real treat now. We're going to have a look at Duval, which is a Belgian strong ale.
A devil of a beer. Well, this beer is really interesting because it's universally acknowledged as the best example of the style, and sort of almost it started the style, and no one's been able to replicate, in my mind, a beer nearly as good as this. Right down from when you pour it, you see what I always think of, that lemon meringue head. You know, it's got that pale sort of golden colour. Once when we went out on the road, we went to Mountain Goat Brewery and we interviewed Dave Bonington, and I asked Dave what was his beer moment. what was the thing that made it for him? And he said, going to the Duval Brewery and tasting the beer straight out of the tank. So, Robert, I'll let you talk. What do you think?
Well, I just have to say this is an absolute cracker. The first thing that strikes you is the colour. It looks more like a lager than a strong ale. I mean, all the other strong ales we tried were all quite dark and heavy in colour. It's malty without being too malty. There's a touch of hops. There's lemony, citrus overtones to it. There's almost floral essences in it. Touch of honey, something like that. It's a very complex taste, beautifully balanced. Alcohol not out of whack, malt not out of whack, hops not out of whack. No wonder it's a classy beer, really.
Yeah. Beautiful. Balance, length, intensity and complexity. Beautifully balanced, nice length, very intense flavours, very complex flavours. This is a really nice way of actually finishing, and I've got to do it 5.
You've done a 5?
I've done a 5.
Yeah,
This
right,
is
well,
a 5-star beer.
Right, I was going 4.5 myself.
No, this is a 5-star beer.
Yeah. Hard not to go 5, but I have to go 4.5 just because nothing is perfect in this world.
I think this one's perfect.
Okay, well that's all we have time for this week, and indeed for this series. So thank you all for watching and supporting us throughout the series. Remember to keep in touch with us via the website to find out what's going on for future series and the beer world in general. And we'll see you all in the future. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you and good night. Just before you go, I'd like to thank you again for being so supportive, all of your emails, telephone calls and letters, and telling all your friends. So thank you very much. A lot has happened in the world of beer over the last 3 months since we've been making this show. There are more micros opening, 2 in particular. Thunder Road is very exciting in Brunswick, and there is a 5th microbrewery opening up in the Yarra Valley at Seville Ridge. The future of the beer frontier? Well, a well-deserved break over Christmas, but keep in touch for what we're doing next. Please look at our YouTube channel, The Beer Frontier TV, Facebook us, and there'll be more information on our website. Thank you.